What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So as usual, once in a while, I'll take some comments that are not necessarily always 100% related to the game in order for me to have a little discussion on. Now, there is some intersection with the game and all of the above, but it's very important to be able to know all of this stuff. Motivations are very big, and the work that we do here on YouTube as content creators, is also something that has opportunity to be able to educate audiences and talk about, our motives and why we're doing this. And I think this is one way to get to know your community and to have your community know you a little bit. Even though we maintain anonymity to some extent, it's still very important that these kinds of, relationships are very clear as to how they are. So one of my audience members yesterday, we were talking about something, and he mentioned something about being a fanboy for this game, and I laughed and I told him, I said, please don't call me a fanboy for this game. If you're gonna call me a fanboy, call me a fanboy for the Division 2. I've spent about 6 years playing the franchise and started my first YouTube channel on that note. So that's something that's really cool in a sense, because for some of us, there are games that we definitely enjoy. Now, for the Arkham games, I'm a huge fan. But Gotham Knights is coming in with a different proposition, and I'm very open-minded at this point, which leads me to another comment that somebody actually left, which was a question anyways, and I wanted to take some time to actually go ahead and actually answer this. Now, this person might be new to this audience, or maybe they've been here. I think it's Ron, and it's a genuine question. It's not an insult. I don't take it as that. And they said, is Warner Brothers paying you to make daily videos about this game? Honest question. And that's actually very interesting, because someone else has asked a question that also went along these lines, like, yo, do you know something that we don't from the inside? Is this one of those Warner Brothers sponsored channels to make videos on Gotham Knights and all the above? And it's quite funny to see that, because usually when you maintain a positive, much more open-minded outlook to video games, this usually is on the minds of some gamers. It makes them suspicious. How do I know this? I have the same thing with my Division community. Sometimes when I'm in a more positive frame of mind, there are people who are having issues with the game as it currently is, and they think to me that maybe, the company is sliding me some dollars or giving me some benefit that, nobody is, privy to. The answer to that is actually a big no. One of the big things about doing YouTube is that you're able to maintain your independence in your creativity, and you're able to, if at any point you earn anything, you earn it based on your work and based on the merit. You're not in a position to be looking for some gaming company to come and pay you. That's why most YouTubers, many YouTubers, are part-time YouTubers, because most of us maintain a regular job like, most other people out here. So the reality is, actually, we don't actually need the YouTube revenue or whatever it is that anybody might be thinking. While it's nice to get, if it's anything substantial at all, because this channel is actually small, so the revenue is actually quite small. I'm doing this because of my interest in the game. It is something that is of note that, we pretty much understand exactly the reason why most of us do what we do, because passion is actually a big part. In order for me to be able to sit here and make videos every day, there is some passion for the, art of content creation. There is some passion for the, ability to be able to sit here and talk about video games and superhero games with my audience members and actually go ahead, look up details, figure out what's going on, even to the point where I started learning game development, which brings me to the second reason why I enjoy doing this particular aspect and why I'm looking forward to Gotham Knights, is because for some of you who don't know, in 2020, I finally picked up game development. I'd been planning to do it for a long time, purchasing tutorials, trying to upgrade my PC to be able to do it. So I started actually my planning phase in like 2019. So somewhere around 2020, 2021, I picked it up finally and decided to go in as much as I could full head on. I had to take a break because we had another child added to our family. It was kind of fun. So that break that I took, was very important for me, because before that break, I was already in a process of learning as much as I could. There are so many resources out there, by the way. And I picked up on Unreal Engine 4. And that gave me a whole different appreciation for the process and the art of game development, one that I still cannot find in anyone else who has not done game development. There's only one other person who's a very close associate of mine who's also a YouTuber in the Division space, and he's currently right now making his own video game. He and I are the only two that can actually talk on that level for the most part, because we've gone through the sweat and the grind of actually trying to do anything that is video game related in our own right. That's trying to make a game or work on a project. And so this is something that really does fascinate me. So even though I have a bias towards the Arkham games, I enjoyed the Arkham games. I've beaten this thing 240%. Arkham Knight, I was going to go back to Arkham City, but I just haven't had time because of all of my scheduling and do that 100% with all the Riddler trophies. I have a very interesting appreciation for every video game that I've actually enjoyed now than I did when I actually played it. Because to me, I'm looking at the mechanics. I'm looking at all kinds of other things. It's almost like The Matrix. I mean, I'm not trying to be, silly or retcon The Matrix. But Matrix is one of my favorite movies of all time, actually. But you can see things in a different light, and your mind starts to calculate parameters. It's weird. So I think about, say, this little fight parameter here with Red Hood. And all I notice is as your combo meter starts to actually go higher in the Arkham games, you somewhat become slightly faster. Whereas back in the other Arkham games, the game kind of kept you in a much more slower pace so that you can now focus, because that focus meter was actually a mechanic that the developers put. They even did the same thing in Arkham Origins and accentuated it more. But these are mechanics that I'm looking at going, why would the game states change? Or why would they actually allow for some kind of time dilation based on these parameters, and how did they do it? So basically what the developers are saying is we're actually tying multiple systems together. We're tying the animation system with your combo counter with the world play time. I mean, it's fascinating beyond what I ever imagined and beyond what I ever thought. So this actually changed my perspective in the way I approach video games. So for the most part, when I do my video game coverage, you may or may not know how I genuinely feel about the game as a gamer, because I talk about my position, also paying very close attention and acknowledging the difficulty of the technical side of executing any of these things. Most games are, in a sense, cash grabs at the end of the day. And this comes from video game executives for the most part. But if developers actually had free reign, I'm telling you, most video games would probably not have all of the different things that has caused us to actually lose trust in gaming as a whole. You think about Cyberpunk 2077, at the end of the day, the game was actually a really good, solid addition to, the gaming world. It was a very, very tough thing to see the game go through so much drag, because you could tell that within CD Projekt Red, they wanted to delay this game one more time to get that PlayStation 4 version right. If you think about it, the president of the company actually put out a big statement saying, guys, we're working on this game, but here's our biggest challenge. And he mentioned and cited, we're looking forward to trying to optimize the game across 9 platforms: 360, PS4, PS4 Pro, PC, Series S, PS5, and then Stadia. And I think he mentioned another platform. So that was 8 I just mentioned off the top of my head. So when they tried their best to get the game to where it was, it seemed like there was the push from maybe investors or whoever it is, and fans were, like, man, this game is getting delayed. We're dying here. And however it is, they put themselves in a position. I'm not saying that they're blameless, but their president went ahead and just lied and did not follow through with being transparent with audiences, which I think they should have been, in a sense. But that's a leadership issue. That's not the guy that's sitting there programming the code in order for you to be able to shoot bad guys. That was a leadership issue. So in gaming, we've had a lot of leadership issues that it's caused a lot of distrust within, the community of gamers and devs, that sometimes content creators are also looked at in a bad light. And I don't blame you guys for actually asking this question. I remember very clearly, if you guys are very attentive to gaming back then, when EA was bringing out Anthem, they flew in a bunch of influencers, gave them a slice of the game to play, and people could not tell that this game still had a lot of work to be done. So even content creators have not necessarily, in some cases, been honest and transparent with you guys. But most of you already know where I stand, and I try my best to answer these questions because I want you guys to know exactly where it is that I am. And the fact that I'm actually here to just have fun is also a big part of it. And the fact that I don't want to be a full-time YouTuber, I really don't. For those of you who may or may not know, this is a declaration I made even when I started from my very first day. I do not want to do this grind full time. Doing it part time is where it's at. I love it. I can say yes or no. I can take months and months of breaks. If you look at my main channel, for those of you who know, I have not touched that channel, frequently in the past few months. I just decided, I'm going to do Gotham Knights videos. And that, community is a community that I'm actually well in tune with. My friends in my clan are like, dude, when are you going to come back? And I'm like, I'm going to just keep doing this Gotham Knights stuff. I'm going to do the superhero stuff for the meantime. And to me, that freedom is much more important than anybody paying me any money. It is just the truth. If somebody gives you money, you almost become, their slave. And I don't know if I can deal with that, folks. But anyways, I want to go ahead and I just, make sure that I, position this stuff in front of you so that you know exactly where I stand. I'm going to get out of your hair. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys just, sitting here for my rant. But I felt it was important that I actually let you guys know. So talk to you guys soon. Peace out.